Now, when we're talking about the gospel of the kingdom, remember, this is at the genesis of the grace dispensation, where Jesus is telling the disciples that you are now going to reach people with the gospel, inviting them into the kingdom of God, not into your culture. Remember, by that time, the believers in God were the Jews. So Jews would come in a place to talk about Judaism, because the God of the Hebrew is a God of the Hebrew. But now this God is not, Jesus is saying we are bringing in a different gospel. The gospel of the kingdom is the commission that is giving us, not the gospel of your denomination. Oh, I am from this denomination, I am Anglican, I am full gospel. Jesus is saying you're taking the gospel of one kingdom. And he's saying, I like this one. And it says, and he said unto them, he charged them, take nothing for your journey. Neither, and even give example, not even, not staves, no script, neither bread. Now, even food. Now, do you know what Jesus is actually saying here? He's saying the gospel of the kingdom is now bringing you out of your Jews. You're going to the Gentiles. You're coming from the Ateso tribe. You're going to preach to the Adola tribe. You're coming from the Bagisu tribe and you're going to preach to the Baganda tribe. So leave your Malewa behind, your bamboo behind, and you're going to eat matoke, which is not the matoke of Bugisu. So when we bring, every culture has its own pride. All right? So Jesus is saying this gospel of the kingdom that you should carry, you are going to first partake of what is there. And this is not the only time he's charging these people to don't take things from your culture to the other culture. One of the things that is a hindrance to the gospel of this kingdom of Jesus Christ, the kingdom of God, is when we get born again, when we come to Christ and we want to preach the gospel to the unreached, those who are not churched, we always want to put forward our culture. Everybody is proud of their culture. As a Mugisu, I am proud of my culture. You'll find a Muganda who'll die for their culture. And you'll find some American who'll die for their cheese. That's okay. Your culture of food, your culture of behavior, your culture of dressing, that, you have the right to be proud. But when we come to the gospel of the kingdom, our cultures, we put them down. Jesus is saying, even your clothes. So let's look at this. And he said unto them, take nothing for your journey. Not, and then at some point there's not even bread, not your food, not money, your Ugandan shillings. When you're sent to go with Ugandan shillings to Ethiopia, it is useless. I have some Ethiopian beer, but my beer don't help me in Uganda. My beer don't help me in Uganda. And when I go to Ethiopia, I forget and go with some Ugandan shillings, it's useless. So Jesus is actually preparing missionaries. The gospel of the kingdom is about missions to the other cultures. Some of us sometimes get so excited and we talk about the Great Commission, but only within our own context. Jesus commissioned disciples to preach the gospel out of their own culture. We trust God. I personally trust God that there will be a season we will begin embracing cross-cultural missions, because this is what Jesus was speaking about when he commissioned the disciples. And then verse 4 says, and whatever house you enter into, there stay, and therein stay there, abide there, and thereafter depart. And whoever will receive you when you go into that city, and whoever will not receive you when you go into that city, shake the very dust of your feet off. We'll get to that later. But let's go to chapter 10, where Jesus again commissioned the 70. after the 12, he commissioned the 70. In chapter 9, he commissioned the 12 disciples. When we come to chapter 10, he commissions another 70. And with the same charge of cross-cultural missions. For All Nations is a missions organization dedicated to encouraging, training, and preparing the African missions movement to reach out cross-culture with the gospel of the kingdom. We want to see, our desire as FAN Uganda, FAN Kenya, FAN Ethiopia, FAN Nigeria, is to see that missionaries raised from these tribes in Uganda going to reach tribes in South Sudan. For we believe that this is the mission that Jesus called us to. Praise the name of the living God. Now, when we come to Luke chapter 10, and after these things, the Lord appointed another 70 also, and sent them 2 by 2 before his face into every city and place where he himself would come. Now let me tell you, those of you who are engaged in cross-cultural missions, it is hard. That is true. But the truth be told, Jesus will not send you to a place where he himself is not yet to come. I have been to places where you think there has been no church, there's been no gospel preached here. But I tell you, he is omnipresent. He is there. And if God called you to go to a tribe in Sudan, chances are Jesus himself has already started doing work there. He has already started speaking to people in dreams and visions. And so when we say we are engaging, we have a call to reach the unreached, no matter how intimidating that mission is going to be. I believe Jesus is already there. I have been engaged in places where we went, and you find these are people who are, they're of a religion that is against Christ. And you think these are very hard to minister to. And all of a sudden, you are surprised to find this one man that literally will receive you, take care of you. And if you're a young person, they take you as their son, adopt you in and feed you, protect you. Jesus is even in those difficult places where you don't even expect him to be. Now, when we come, let's see here. Let's digest here. And therefore, let's say verse 10. Verse 2 of chapter 10 of Luke. It says, therefore said he unto them, he's charging them, the harvest is truly great, but the laborers are few. Pray you therefore the Lord of the harvest, that he would send forth laborers into his harvest. Now, Jesus is here inviting the people in the grace dispensation. And he says, let us partner together. Pray therefore to the Lord of the harvest. He's not asking much. Of course, there are 70 who are ready to go, who is commissioning. But he's also saying, even those of you who are not able to go, you can pray. Pray to the Lord of the harvest, that he may send forth laborers. Already we are sending this, but Jesus is inviting the church